new generation. We are the youth of the nation. High in the sky. We are the new generation. Leader. Leader. Leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leaders Dialogue Show, which is a show that brings on board seasoned leaders to share insight on their experience on their journey to their position as we speak. We are privileged to have Mr. John Ng'ang'a. Welcome so much, Mr. John Ng'ang'a.
Asante.
Mr. John Ng'ang'a is a renowned author of 10 books, a former manager at Kenya Shell, and a principal consultant in Taluma Consultants. And today we want to talk about performance, Mr. John Ng'ang'a. Now, what is performance at workplace?
It's a very important subject.
Yes.
Because where there is no performance management system,
Yes.
you end up with dissatisfied workers.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It means that whenever the boss is unhappy, he will say you're not performing. When he is happy, he will say you are performing. Because there's no method of ensuring. You can do a good job, you think you are okay, the boss says it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any place where there is no performance management system is a place of total confusion. If I feel I've done well and you tell me I've not done well, you are the boss, so your word will be carried, but I'll be looking for another place to work. I'll be looking for how to resign. So when it is important to measure work, because when you don't measure work, you leave yourself to emotional tantrums. And that way you affect performance of the organization and the output is also affected. So what is performance management system? Is a system of verifying, number one, what is the task that was assigned to you? Number two, how was that task to be measured? Number three, what was the target you were supposed to have reached given that management system? And number four, what rate did you get? Now the trouble with a lot of places is some places that have no performance management system. It's simply the boss to word is final. But other places have a performance management system, but it's very subjective. The boss can, you are saying you're measuring, but he still has a lot of his personal input into it, whether he likes you or does not like you. That's why what is worse is sometimes you're not very sure. Like one of the things that makes jobs in the domestic assistance, otherwise called house girls, very difficult, is because the leader of the house does not say exactly what's her job. You know, she says, the visitors came and you never give them tea. But at no time had he been told, when visitors arrive, give them tea. So you are measuring something that was a job that was not given in the first place. In a good management system, there must be clarity of a job description. Well, however, even if it's a verbal one, you must tell me exactly what you want me to do within what period time. So you cannot claim to have a management system when your staff are not clear what they need to do each day, during the year, whichever period you have agreed to discuss. That's a first input in a good management system, a clarity. But inside that job description, it will be important that you have a statement showing how that job fits in the overall mission of the place. Because a job without an understanding of how important it is to the system will make somebody think he's a cog in a machinery. So you will not feel that important. But when you start seeing that your job, from the purpose statement of your job, you start realizing my job is critical for the success of my organization, it will make me very motivated. Once you have clarified exactly why the job exists and what you want me exactly to achieve, the second step is for us to agree how will you measure whether I've done the job or not. And the measurement system is the most important issue. You cannot measure a feeling. You must reduce the measure to something measurable. So for example, if you are a receptionist, how do you measure whether I'm doing a good job? First of all, it's my job description. But number two, how do you measure it? The job description must be, number one, to receive visitors. Number two, to guide visitors, to connect visitors to the people they need to see. And number three, to keep the place, the ambience of the reception good. Whichever, I'm not an expert in that area. But assuming that is the job description, you must now creatively say how to measure it. For example, when you now go back to the purpose of the job, why do you have a reception? Is in order to sell the organization to people who physically appear. Now, if that is the thing, then that gives you an idea of what you are going to measure. Number one, you can measure that period, 1 month, how many complaints did we have from our clients about how they were received. And that's a measurable thing. Number two, you can decide to measure, if you are measuring how they were, how many people were sent to the wrong person. In other words, after the person was told to go, he said, no, I'm the wrong person. She should not have seen me. That tells you the receptionist does not understand the organization well, to understand who does what. You can measure that, how many. Now, that way, once you agree how to measure, it will help the receptionist to always be conscious why he must perform on that area. So, because that's where he is measured. They say in management, whatever gets measured gets done. Once I know what you are looking for, I'm likely to give it to you. So, you need, every job must be reduced to measurable statements, something you can measure. Like now what you're saying, if you say how many people complained, number of complaints. What's the measure? The receptionist, how many people were misled? It's measurable. So that's the second thing. So any job you talk about must measure. If you're a salesman, what's the job of a salesman? To ensure products are bought, not given. Now, because it's very easy to go giving away the products. How do you give them away? When you give somebody on credit and he's a guy who will never pay, then you give him the goods. So you must, in measuring the salesman, it will be number of items sold. But you also say amount of money outstanding. Because you see, if it's outstanding, the one will cancel the other. Now, so it's important. That second thing is, in a good performance management system, you must be the kind of a person who not only tells me what to do, but you tell me how you will measure it. So the column is, how do you measure? It can be percentage, it can be number of, you must say something measurable, something, and then that measure needs to be a measure where if I measure it and you measure it, we can arrive at two answers. If it's a measure where my opinion matters, that's not a good measure. It must be an objective measure so that even if I want to change, I can't change. It then means that the boss assessing and the staff assessing can never arrive at two things. For example, if you say your measure is value of products sold, it's there in the computer. All the sales documents are there. So you check the computer and you can see Nganga sold 3 million. If the boss checks, it's still 3 million. So there's no way we can argue. In a good management system, there is no argument. The measure itself is clear. And I think that's the second thing if you are going to do a good performance management system. The third column we talked about is to agree the target. Because without understanding the target, it will be difficult, very difficult, for you to know how much. Okay, if you agree the value, how many? I can say, I want to sell 3 million. But the boss says 10 million. So in addition, we know how to measure, but what's my target? How much can I sell per year? And why have I arrived at that target? You can arrive at the target on the basis of what you are able to do per week. Therefore, after 2 weeks, or what you did last year, and now you can, because you are now having a car, you can do more. But there must be a target that I'm trying to achieve, and that target has to be debated, not at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, we debate it. And it must be signed off both by the boss and the assistant. Once I now accept my target, my job is to work at it. So it's very important that we don't just say agree the measure, we also agree the target. Because if you don't agree the target, then I'll hate it. They say if you aim at nothing, you are sure to hate it. So you need to agree a specific thing, but don't force the target on your subordinates. Debate with him. Convince him that he is capable of doing it. Because if you put a target that is too high, he knows he can't reach, he will give up even earlier. So you need the normal method is to allow him to give his target, tell you why that target. Then if you can show him there's something he has forgotten, then you can make it a little higher until the figure is agreed. So far now you have a clarity of what the job you are doing. You have clarity of how performance will be measured. Then you have a target. What am I trying to achieve? Measured by the measure we have agreed. Number 4, you finally have to have evaluation or rating. Where, if it's a quarterly thing, you look at the quarter, say how much have I done? You look at the year, how much have I done? And on the basis of that, you are able to agree whether you are progressing well in the year. A rating will show percentage of the target you have met. You can meet 100%, but you can get more than the target you gave. So you need to agree what have I, and it's nothing to agree. Once the measures are clear, the performance will be automatic.
That's true. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very clear on the need of performance measurement, and keep forwarding your comments in our Facebook page at Leaders Dialogue Show and our Twitter page at Leaders Dialogue. We'll be right back.